What's up, Star Wars fans? My name is Prince, and I'm an urban acolyte. If you haven't heard, a picture of the box cover for the Snoke Throne Room toy set leaked this morning, and there's a few people wondering if it just gave us a major spoiler for the final act in The Last Jedi. Before I get into that, I just want to say that if you're new here, I make videos on Star Wars The Last Jedi at least 3 times a week, so be sure to subscribe and enable notifications to stay up to date on what's going on with Star Wars Episode 8. Okay, so I first found out about this toy set from my bro Geekdom 101, and he posted a video over on his second channel, World of Geekdom, where he weighed in on this potential spoiler. Now, I haven't watched Geekdom's video because I didn't want it to influence anything that I might say over here on this video. But from our brief conversation this morning, well, I'm under the impression that he thinks this actually could be a spoiler. Now, I'm going to say that I disagree. I think that it's just a toy set from something that could potentially be in Episode 8, meaning Snoke's Throne Room. I don't think that we'll see Finn, Rose, and Rey fighting stormtroopers and the Praetorian Guard in Snoke's Throne Room in the third act of the movie. If you haven't seen the live Star Wars chats that I do on Sunday afternoons, then you might not have heard my thoughts on what I believe will happen in the final act of The Last Jedi. Now, if you want to go into Episode 8 completely spoiler-free, you may want to tune out for what I'm about to say. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, are we good? Now, I can't take full credit for what I'm about to tell you, because I got this from my big sister Trisha Barr over on my favorite Star Wars podcast, Fangirls Going Rogue. If you don't know who Trisha Barr is, well, she's helped write at least 2 Star Wars encyclopedias, and she's one of those people who tends to get information from Lucasfilm before that stuff is made public to the rest of us. So what Trisha said in the last podcast was that Episode 8 is not going to be a rehash of Empire Strikes Back. It's actually going to be the mirror, or the opposite of Empire Strikes Back. So think of how Episode 5 started out on Hoth. In Empire, the Rebel Alliance was gathering all of their forces on Hoth to pool all their intel and possibly make a full-on assault to take down the Empire. Of course, that meeting did not occur. The Empire came full force, and Darth Vader actually came to retrieve Luke Skywalker, but they dealt such a heavy defeat to the Rebel Alliance that everyone was sent fleeing in different directions. And for more on that besides what was in the movie, you can read Lost Stars and Battlefront Twilight Company to get those events from a different perspective. So think about how in Empire, everyone is together, even our group of Han, Leia, and Luke, but they all scatter. Han and Leia leave in the Millennium Falcon, and Luke goes to Dagobah to seek out Yoda. Eventually, everyone does come back together at Cloud City, but think about what happened there. Han is captured and frozen and shipped off to Jabba. Luke is nearly killed by his father during the big reveal that Darth Vader is Anakin. Now think about Episode 8. Again, at the beginning, everyone is actually scattered at the start of the movie. They're not together. Poe's off doing his thing. Rey is on Ahch-To to bring Luke back into the fold. Finn is in a coma. We know that the movie will have these 3 strands. There's the bigger story of the New Republic, the Resistance, and the First Order, which will most likely involve Poe and Leia. There will be Finn's mission with Rose to find this slicer named DJ so that they can infiltrate the First Order. And then there's going to be Rey's story with Luke Skywalker. So like I said, everyone starts out the movie scattered. Eventually, though, they do come back together, and that's going to happen in Act 3 on the planet Crate. Now, Crate has ties going all the way back to the Rebel Alliance. It was a rebel base that was abandoned just before the Battle of Scarif that we saw in Rogue One. The mining operations taking place on Crate are helping to fund the Resistance and their current fight against the First Order. So think about this. In Empire Strikes Back, it starts out on a white planet that's covered in snow. The Last Jedi will end on a white planet covered in salt. There's going to be a battle on Crate between the Resistance and the First Order, but I don't believe anything will happen that's going to involve Snoke or his throne room. I believe that just like in Empire Strikes Back, the Resistance will be meeting with potential allies in the New Republic to come up with a plan to take down the First Order for good. I think this is when we will see everyone come together. Rey and Finn are gonna be reunited finally. Luke and Leia will have their big Skywalker reunion that we waited 30 years to see. And if you look at a picture of Leia from the BTS trailer, it looks like Rey's head is in the bottom corner of that shot. We also need to think about how Palpatine is presented in the original saga when we start talking about Snoke. Palpatine didn't participate on Hoth, and we really didn't know much about the Emperor other than there was one. And I don't think Snoke is going to be too involved in the action in Episode 8. I mean, could we get an idea of Snoke's abilities? I do think that's possible. See, there was a comment from Rian Johnson in Entertainment Weekly about him being a force of nature, but it wasn't clear if Rian was talking about Snoke or if he was talking about Andy Serkis's performance as Snoke, because he was also talking about how he never worked with a motion capture actor. So for me, based on what I think will happen in Episode 8, I don't think this toy set is giving anything away about the movie. I don't think Rey will come into contact with Snoke at all in Episode 8. My thoughts are that if we see Snoke's throne room, it would most likely be in Finn's arc or when we see more of Kylo Ren in his training. But those are my thoughts. I don't think this toy set is spoiling anything. But what about you? Maybe you think it is giving up part of the story. So if you do, let me know what you think this is showing us down in the comments below, and I'll be checking back to see what you all have to say. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and click on that subscribe button so that you can take your first steps towards becoming an urban acolyte. Embark on the journey of becoming the hero of your own story so that you can become a force for change in your community. Continue to support the channel and be sure to check out the video I just posted on my discussion with Vincent Vendetta on the Reylo fan theory. Now, I hadn't planned to post this video, so I'm a little bit off my schedule of planned videos. But be sure to check back for my video on Finn and how his story in Episode 8 is going to mirror Luke Skywalker. Well, that's all I got for this one, so thanks for watching. Y'all keep on breathing, and may the force of others be with you. Always.